most of my 20s, my alarm would go off and I'd snooze it until the last possible minute, and I'd train whenever I could fit it in, and then wonder why my days always felt so reactive. And then, about 3 years ago, I started getting up at 5 a.m. every single day, and I haven't missed a training session since, not in 3 years. And the thing about training in the evening is that life just gets in the way. Something always comes up. The morning is the one window that's genuinely mine. And once I figured that out, getting up at 5 a.m. stopped feeling like a sacrifice and started feeling like the obvious answer. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly what my morning looks like, why I'd never go back to evenings, and the one thing I do the night before that makes 5 a.m. feel completely effortless, because without it, none of this works. Because it's not really about being a morning person. It turns out I just needed to set it up properly. Okay, so it is 5:14 in the morning, the day after getting back from Corfu. And today, on the menu, we've got a 4.5 mile run. So, let's get into it. So here we go, just set off. As you can see by the watch, it's a 4.5 mile run. Today is Tuesday. I'm going to, over the next around 12 weeks, run 3 times per week, if I can. Some weeks, inevitably, it will only be twice, because I've also got to fit in 1 or 2 jiu-jitsu sessions and 3 gym sessions, as well as do all my work. Just like everyone else does, I'm sure you're in a position where you don't have much time, which leads me on to one of the first points in this video, which is why I get up at 5 a.m. to do the majority of my training sessions. And my wife is 22 weeks pregnant now, so obviously by the end of the year we will have a little boy on the way, and I've also got to factor that in. So I've set my life up to the point where I can train at this time and it doesn't affect me at all. I'm not absolutely fucked later on, I'm not absolutely knackered, and that is such a big part. If this was forcing me to wake up and I was absolutely knackered for the rest of the day, and I felt like it was affecting my work, affecting my relationship with my wife, I'd knock it on the head. I wouldn't do it. I'd decide to do something else. I'd decide to train at a different time. And this hasn't been something where I've just suddenly started waking up at 5 a.m. to train. I've progressively got it to this point to where it doesn't affect my day. I feel great. I actually look forward to training as well, and that's something which I tell all my clients, because for me, if I train for this time, it means that I don't need to think about it for the rest of today. I don't have it in the back of my head lingering, eating away at me, saying, you've got to do that session, you've got to do that session. And for me, I hate that niggling thought in the back of my mind. It makes me feel a little bit restless, and I can't fully relax or get fully into the thing that I need to do that day, whether it's clients, online clients, whatever it may be. So that is 1 mile in. I'm not gonna lie, feeling a little bit slower than usual at the minute, with us just getting back from Corfu yesterday with all the travel, sitting down. I trained every single day, but 1 mile done, that's the main thing. We've got 3.5 to go. It is currently just gone 20 to 6 in the morning. One of the other reasons I love this time is there's no fucker else about, which is great, apart from the odd few cars here and there. Not to say that I don't like people, of course, but my job is I'm talking to people all day, either in person or online with my online clients. Right, let's finish this run. So that house there behind me here, I used to live in a few years ago before I moved in with my wife, with a certain big podcaster who has over 4 million subscribers now, without naming names. Figure it out. So that is me now done. Ended up finishing the run on 4.23 mile, which is 0.27 miles short of the 4.5 I was meant to do, but fuck me, sue me. Like I said, I've pretty much trained every day when I was away in Corfu, so my legs are feeling it a little bit. I did split squats yesterday and obviously sat on a plane, it was delayed an hour. Knees and hips are feeling it a little bit. But overall, really good run. Glad to get back to it. It is now, give or take, just after 6 a.m. and now we move on to the next part of the day, and then make my coffee and my breakfast to have every single day. If you've been a viewer for a while, you will know that is. And if you don't know what it is, well, it will change your life. I've had it every single day for about 7 or 8 years now, and it has been an absolute game changer. For 1, convenience, but 2, staying in shape, because it ticks all the boxes. Just gone 8:15 in the morning, and I never thought I'd say this, or maybe I did, but after 8 days now of not having my infamous protein oats, hashtag look shit taste good on Instagram, I've missed them. Breakfast buffets are amazing, but after a week and a lot of wasps, sometimes you can get not sick of them, but you sort of want to go back to your old habits. And protein oats are definitely my old habits. So every single morning I'll have these, whether I usually am, as I said, in the gym with my in-person clients. I'll prep these in the morning before going in, and they're so convenient. They take 2 minutes to prep. I hit all my macros, my protein, my carbs, my fats, and it's really bloody tasty. So every single morning around this time, I'll have my protein oats. And that is one of the biggest things which has helped me stay on track, is have similar meals where possible. I'm not saying you have to have the same meals for breakfast, lunch and dinner. For some people that works, but for me, it definitely doesn't. What works best for me, and has done for years now, is have the same breakfast, aka this. Lunch, we sometimes mix it up, sometimes it's quite similar. For example, a lot of the times for lunch, I'll have scrambled eggs on toast, an omelette, or some type of chicken sandwich, or wrap, or a chicken Caesar salad, for example. We normally have like 3 or 4 go-tos we'll have. So breakfast, lunch are pretty much always the same, but dinner is where I mix it up. But that's a topic for another day. But breakfast is always around 8:20 in the morning. As I said, I'm editing the video now, so I'm gonna eat this, finish off editing the Corfu vlog, which you should have already seen. But if you're someone who's struggling with a routine and you don't want to be spending hours in the gym, I've got my Softer Lean free program linked below in the description, which is built for people who want to make amazing progress in the gym. It's got a progressive overload tracker built in, and it's not going to require you to spend 6 days in the gym for 90 minutes. So if that sounds like something that you may be after, make sure you head to the link in the description. It has just gone 12 o'clock, so technically we're not in the morning anymore. And we've just finished the food shop. Again, it's not ideal doing it on a Tuesday, especially after getting back from holiday. No one wants to do that. Usually it's a Sunday food shop. Today's been completely off, but you get to see a day in the life, which is slightly different to the usual day in the life. And today, for lunch, we have some pasta, we have some tuna, we have some half-fat cheese, we have sriracha mayo mixed in there, as well as a garlic bread. And this is going to fuel up pretty much the run this morning and everything else we got going on today, which includes another scan at the hospital for the baby. So the third point I want to talk about is everything I do the night before, because this is arguably the most important part of being able to get up early in the morning and how I'm able to do it. But I'm going to have this first. Alright, job done. I'm a notoriously really quick eater, as my wife always likes to point out. I can eat that within just a couple of minutes. Put on a podcast, stick to football podcast. If you're into football, then make sure you comment below and tell me what your team is. But the first step I do every single night before I'm getting up really early is I'll set all my clothes out. So for example, if I'm running, I'll set out my shorts, my t-shirt, my socks. So that straight away, I don't need to fanny about rummaging around in the cupboards and the tops. 1, waking up the missus, and 2, I just don't have the mental bandwidth, especially when it's in the dark, as the slightly darker months are coming in now. So I set them up at the side of my bed, so I get out straight away. I don't even need to think. I'm just putting my clothes on, done. And then the second part of what I do is brush my teeth, get sorted, and I also have everything laid out downstairs. Again, I'm using the example of going for a run because that's what I did this morning. So I will have my running trainers set out, I'll have my headphones set out, and my running vest as well. So everything is laid out the night before so that I don't need to think. And this makes such a big difference, because it just takes away that mental capacity of finding your clothes and trying to get everything sorted when all you want to do is just go out the door. So that's step 1, I'll get everything set up a few hours before bed. And then step 2 is the obvious, it's the nighttime routine. We both, my wife and I, have perfected this, I would say, over the last, well, probably 1 year, 1 to 2 years even. So we'll usually have dinner around 5:30 to 6 p.m. The reason for this is I don't like having dinner too close to bed. It raises my body temperature and it'll prevent me from going to sleep as quickly. So let's just say we have a pasta dish for dinner at around 5:30, give or take. I'll then usually have a little dessert around 6:15, which might be like Greek yogurt and some fruit, for example. And then we'll usually watch something on TV, like a show, till maybe 7:15, and then we'll go up. She'll often have a shower, and then this is where the wind down routine really does start. I'll often get into bed, give or take around 8 o'clock, and then I'll make sure at 8:15 at the absolute latest, I'm not looking at my phone anymore. I might be watching a YouTube video or a podcast until 8:15, but then that's my cut-off time, especially when I know I'm up at 5. So the first step is get off your screen, get off my screen, get off my phone. In the summer months, as we are at the minute, we have a portable aircon unit, so we make sure that's on as well, so the room is nice and cool. The next part is I'll read, and Alex does this as well. So it's often a fictional book, a book I'm reading from 8:15, and then I'll usually read for around half an hour to 45 minutes. So that takes us close to 9 o'clock. Sometimes when I'm absolutely knackered, I'll just sack it off halfway through and I'll go to bed even earlier. But if I don't, I'll make sure that I'm off my Kindle reading by 9 o'clock. And then the next thing I do, once I've put the Kindle aside, is I have the sleep mask. I'm not sponsored, but I use the, is it Manta sleep mask? It's a little bit pricey, I'm not gonna lie, but they're absolutely great. Again, I'm not sponsored, but they're really comfortable when you're lying on your side, in particular, if you are a side sleeper. And especially in the summer months, it blocks out all the light, as they should do. It's a fucking eye mask. But that's number one. And number two, I do wear earplugs as well. I've got all the fucking gear. But I feel it really helps. I've been using earplugs for probably about 18 months now. And I'm just so used to them. It blocks out all the noise. And then I've blocked out the light as well. And it really helps getting to sleep. In the winter, I won't use the eye mask because I don't need to. It's pitch black in our bedroom anyway in the winter. But those two, along with the aircon, along with the screens off by around 8:15 and then reading until just before 9 o'clock, that really makes a difference. And then by 9 o'clock, ideally, if I'm tired, I'll be asleep. Sometimes, obviously, it goes more towards 9:30, 9:45 if I just can't sleep. But I'm not just sat on my phone. I'm in bed trying to get to sleep. And then if I wake up at 5, do the maths, I'm looking at give or take around 8 hours sleep. Obviously, sometimes it's more towards 7 to 7.5, but it's very rare that I get less than 7 hours sleep. Now, the big elephant in the room here, as I mentioned throughout this video, is that we're going to be having a little boy at the end of the year in around 3-4 months' time. And I understand that that's going to change a lot. And I will make sure to make a lot of videos about that when the time comes. But these key steps have made an absolute massive difference for me. And if you're someone who has got kids or you've got a certain job where you can't do this, obviously you have to mold the routine to what works for you. I'm just telling you what works for me. And again, if you're someone who can't think about going to sleep at 9 o'clock because you go to sleep at 9 o'clock, then of course, I'm not saying you need to cut back to 9 o'clock straight away. All I'd recommend, and I say this to my clients, is knock it back half an hour one week, and then half an hour the next. So that by the time 6 to 8 weeks in, you're closer to 9, 10 o'clock. If you're someone who wants to start getting up earlier and actually feeling a little bit fresher. Now, of course, if you're someone who prefers to train in the evening, then of course, this video is not for you. I'm not saying that training at 5, 6 in the morning is suitable for everyone. This is just what works for me and what works for a lot of my clients if they have a similar routine to me. Of course, I have a lot of my clients who don't train early in the morning, they train midday, some of them train in the evening, and of course I'll mold the routine around that. But this is what I do, and this is what works best for me. But you're probably still thinking, what is the actual process of doing this and actually dropping body fat so that when I wake up early in the morning and I walk into the bathroom and I see myself in the mirror with my top off, and you want to feel confident with the way you look. You want to see that glimpse of your abs. You want to feel like the progress you've made is actually happening, and you can see it visually in the mirror, and you have that positive feeling throughout the day because of how much progress you're making. Well, make sure you watch this video somewhere over here because I go into detail on exactly how to do that.